Hi, I'm your host Karim Rafam. Welcome to Coffee and Conversation. I'm joined today by Annabelle Kwok, AI practitioner and founder and CEO of NeuralBay. Annabelle, thank you so much for coming today.
Hello. So my name is Annabelle Kwok. I'm 26 years old and I'm from Singapore. So I founded a company called NeuralBay, which is an artificial intelligence startup that really focuses on image and video processing. So what we do is we train customized neural networks for companies.
Can you tell me more about what drove you to build an AI to process videos and stills, and what was the main goal behind all that?
I did study like some image and processing classes back when I was in university. I mean, that was the base foundation. But when I first started out into this field, it didn't really seem like it was like I was doing AI. It was just like, I just need a feature for recognizing a person in the frame who's walking, etc. So it just was another feature, and then suddenly, AI took off, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm popular now.
So can you tell me how your application of neural networks and AI has applied the work that you do, so be it NeuralBay or other?
The thing about neural networks is that it is recyclable in some sense, but yet you still need to customize it. So for example, if let's say I have a neural network that I've trained to recognize body postures, you can use it in different industrial verticals. For example, in security, you can recognize somebody squatting in the corner being all suspicious, right? Or you can use it in the medical industry for like physiotherapy. When the doctor is not there, is he doing his exercises correctly? What we do at NeuralBay is that we have our core assets where we have already trained on a lot of data from our consultancy clients on these general models. And what we do is that we also modify them to fit into that company's problem statement.
So the reputation around AI has been up and down, and more importantly, there's always a bit this overly sentient expectation. Are we expecting too much? Where do you think it's going to go? I mean, there are initiatives from like the likes of Elon Musk, OpenAI, and Google's AI initiative, and everyone seems to be on the fence between it being positive, negative, long-term. What are your thoughts?
I think there's a very clear distinction between researchers and developers in the AI field. And a lot of the hype that you hear is a lot about the work that you've a lot of the hype that you hear is in the research area. Researchers, when they research on a particular case study, you can actually choose what the variables you want to discard if it doesn't work in your favor, right? So the moment the car lifts off the ground by 1 cm, the journalists come in and go, we got flying cars. The developers would be like, oh no, how do we implement it? There is a lot of technical obstacles in coming up with, technical obstacles with actually implementation in the real world, specifically due to these factors.
So for you personally, what do you think is the future for AI or even neural networks or laboratory neural networks? What are you the most excited about?
I don't know, a sci-fi futuristic picture where we are all in flying cars, or we are all sitting from home and everything's automated for us. I mean, as humans, you still need to wake up, go to the toilet, go to work, etc. And if history has taught us anything, it is about increasing our efficiency with technology, and not so much of we can take a step back and relax, because we are workaholics in some sense. We try to always achieve the best we can. I would like to see that more MNCs and governments open up like microservices for smaller companies to come in, because I think one of the largest stumbling blocks for actual implementation of any machine learning or any innovative solutions by startups or other vendors is that there's a legacy system, right? So they've been using a process by, let's say, SAP or Oracle, etc., for the longest time. And if you want to actually integrate your services together with them, it is a whole other suite of problem other than developing your own modular solution. So that's something that I'm quite excited about the Singapore government, is because they've started opening up microservices for startups or other vendors to actually contribute in. And by structuring it this way, you can actually implement technology faster and hopefully achieve a smarter nation better. And I think some companies, they feel like they have an obligation towards their clients to actually respect the privacy of their clients. And by doing so, there are things that they can't actually share with, let's say, the vendors or even do within the company. So for example, within a big MNC, you can have a lot of data sets sitting in silos, but the moment they start merging these data sets, they actually can piece very, very detailed virtual profiles of individuals, and that could be borderline illegal considering the laws that we have in place right now. So we do need to sort out that part on data governance as a world. There is no right or wrong answer at the moment because I think the world is still kind of figuring out what's going on, assessing the situation, and yeah, there's no consensus on what is the right approach. And it might be a little bit too late by the time they actually decide on that. So let's see how it goes, you know? Yeah.
It's definitely exciting times. I feel like Europe is always on the forefront of banning, forbidding, or putting regulations in place. Singapore always had this very interesting opt-in option when it came to sharing your personal data. So you've got such an interesting personal life. I think you surf, taekwondo, you play lots of musical instruments, and you have for a long time, if I recall. What is it that drives you on the professional side to pursue mathematics and AI when you have such a varied interests already when it comes to your hobbies? So you told us you were 26 years old, you've already got a degree, you're the founder of at least one company so far, and you've got a multitude of hobbies. When it comes to your professional work, do you feel like you're the youngest person in the room more often than not? And how has that shaped you?
Sometimes, you know, when we're actually talking to large MNCs where you meet men in suit and tie, sometimes I feel a little bit out of place. Well, you don't have a tie, so you're still good. Yeah, sometimes I feel out of place, but in an Asian society that's a bit conservative, the older generation tend to pack age with wisdom and experience. So I just, you know, be myself. Sometimes I wear headphones around my neck and not even plug it into anything and just talk casually, and their impression change. They're like, whoa, young kids nowadays, you know, we wish you had handphones and computers.
I take it you've managed to prove yourself to the point where it doesn't really matter. And I think the industry as a whole has also evolved to a point where sweatpants and a hoodie don't rhyme with college student, but more like billionaire, right? So
yeah, you gotta earn the respect, you know.
Can you tell me a bit more about your philanthropic work, what you've been doing? I read online that you were robbed at knife point once, and also you shook the hand of Barack Obama.
Yeah, so for the robbed at knife point, when I was about 19 years old, I just decided to go on a YOLO trip to Africa. On hindsight, it was fun, but going through it, I mean, it was tough to see the people suffering there, especially when they didn't have proper medication against malaria, HIV, and not a lot of education against like drug abuse or even starting up businesses. But they were hardworking people. I'm actually part of the Obama Foundation now, one of the first batches of the Obama leaders. So what we do, I think about 21 of us, we are helping him actually plan and design the workshops on behalf of the Obama Foundation for the Asia Pacific region. So Obama flew 21 of us to meet with him in Hawaii earlier in January, and he got his sister to kind of like babysit us, not really babysit, but work together with us on the whole designing of the workshops. And he would also sit in and strategize with us on what needs to be done and what needs to be pushed, and what are the topics that needs to be pushed. And it was quite interesting, you know, to sit down in a room, working together with Obama, presenting to him, having him critique some of the plans that you have. Having
gotten involved so much in philanthropy, but also being so involved with AI, which is all about optimizing processes, do you see a space for AI optimizing anything in philanthropy, or anything you're involved with in philanthropy?
I often tell people that, you know, my primary goal is not really to IPO the company or make the most profit, but really to build products for social good. Because I believe that, you know, you don't always have to give back in terms of time and money. You can also give back in terms of knowledge and skill. So within NeuralBay, we look at how we can optimize our processes for social good. So one of them being the labeling and annotation. So we engage with a local charity called Daughters of Tomorrow, where we get the underprivileged women who are probably earning about like $300 to $500 a month to actually help us do the annotation work for the data that we are going to be using for training. So that's one portion, and another portion is the actual product that we'll be building from NeuralBay outside of our consultancy arm. So like what I mentioned earlier, that we train all these general neural networks. So these are trained on massive amounts of data by the consultancy companies and the data that we collect. We can always recycle them for the smaller companies who might not need such a customized solution as, you know, the MNCs. And if you ask them, they would never have the budget to open their own innovation lab, and they would never really have that amount of training data to actually train on. So by doing that, we are kind of like a Robin Hood model. We take from the rich and we give to the poor, but doing it responsibly to both parties. So yeah.
Well, Annabelle, thank you so much for coming today. I'm afraid that's all the time we have. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.